I've never seen a diamond in the flesh. I cut my teeth on wedding rings.
Dude, that's pretty cool.
Man, that is a sad clown.
Dude, that's pretty good.
This is The Gloom, bringing you weekly interviews with F3 Omaha packs, exploring their F3 experiences and finding those sticky elements that create the glue in the gloom.
Shout out to our sponsors. Major Team Mortgage, Omaha Laser Dentistry, Exclusively Eye Care, Liberty Core Real Estate, Avier Wealth Management, and Apex Men's Clinic. We appreciate their support.
Hey, are you the type of guy that likes to get up early in the winter to battle your jester? Do you love listening to people drone on and on and on about COVID in the gloom? Would you trust your vision to a guy nicknamed Cataracts? Well, if the answer to any of these questions is yes, fellas, you have bigger problems than you think. Dr. Cataracts, aka Dr. Wolf, can't solve all of your problems, but he can certainly help you solve the problems related to your eye health and vision. You will find many F3 principles throughout his practice. Check him out today at Exclusively Eye Care.
Now let's get back to the gloom.
And we're back. Man, this guy just always looking good. And if you're listening, unfortunately for you, you can't see him. But recently, Site Q at Red Wings, home of F3 Omaha's largest eagle. And also just all around great guy. I've had a good chance to get to know him in the gloom, and I got my man Armando. It's good to see you, brother. Where we'd like to start off is just who EH'd you, and what was the first workout like, and how'd you get the name Armando?
Well, thanks, Plague, for asking me to be a part of this today. I was kind of wondering why you had never asked me. I was almost to the point of taking offense, but then when I finally passed the flag and you told me, "Hey man, that you done with the Site Q at Red Wings, it's time to get you on the podcast." So anyway, again, thank you for asking me to be a part of this. It's I was looking back at the past interviews, and there's just a lot of special dudes on there. So yeah, happy to be a part of it, dude. So, all right. So how I got EH'd would have been about 2.5 years ago. It was a situation where my wife was trying to talk me into going to dinner with these other couples. And, you know, how that is, you never know what you're going to get when you're doing that, you know. So, like, reluctantly, I'm like, okay, yeah, let's go out to eat with these folks. A friend of her, girlfriend from hers from school, and her husband and a few other couples. Well, I'd come to find that Justin Vike, truly, he was one of the attendees with his wife Heather. So we already knew each other, so we had that common bond right away. So it made it a little bit easier to be excited about it, I guess, at the end of the day. So sat down with dinner with him, slap shot in the future schnitzel. And there's others, and had dinner and Slapshot. He was just on it right away, man. He's just like, you got to come out sometime. We have it's a great workout, and and he didn't really tell me about all the details. He's just trying to get me there to get the workout. He didn't. I don't know if he thought he was going to scare me away or whatever. And truly, he just was kind of sitting back, like, yeah, you can come if you want. He's just like, he didn't really push anything. Just like. Trying to make it, maybe he was trying to make it like so I was like more interested. I don't know. So they didn't get me that day. Next time we went out for dinner about a month later, talked me into say, we're going to go out on Wednesday to top rope. You should join us. And I said, sure, let's roll. Let's try it. And yeah, that was my first
Nice.
post.
What do you remember about the first post? Do you remember who was leading, or was it a tough workout, or?
I think it was. I think it was Doppler, but okay. I'm not sure. I don't think it was a hard workout. So it was probably Doppler. No, I'm joking, dude. If you're listening to this, I don't mean that. But I just remember that after the when we're doing the name-a-rama and getting my name for the first time, it was, I had an idea that they were going to give me something. So, I was going to keep my cards tight. I wasn't going to say something that might give me a name I'll regret, but you never know, man. Some people get lucky. Some people you're just like, it's too bad. So, talking about real estate, just mentioned, I'm in real estate. I'm a broker, flip houses, got rental properties, all that. And Cataracts goes, Armando Montalongo. And everybody's like, what? Who, what? What's going on? And we just went with it. He said, okay, you're Armando. And I was like, heck yeah,
That's
man.
a good name.
I like the name. I got to like it. And what it was kind of cool is that this Mondo Montalongo guy. He was this character on a show called Flip This House on A&E. So he was kind of a dirtbag. I mean, there was something about him you just didn't like. And so anyway, I would watch this show all the time, and they had other characters, and I love this show. We got this lead that they were looking for a new group to record and to have a show with. So me and my best friend at the time, and what was my girlfriend, now my M now, we hired a professional photography company to record us for a weekend. He created this makeshift Flip This House show to send to A&E to try to get our own show. So it failed. They didn't like us. I don't know something about us. Obviously, weren't funny enough, or just didn't have it. But it was funny because that was that whole Armando Montalongo had a stronger connection to me than really anybody knew at the time. So anytime I hear from the distance Armando, I get a big smile on my face. I feel very fortunate.
That's a great name. And it's cool, the connection that's actually somehow related, right? So many guys get a name that has nothing to do with anything they've ever been involved. You're like, what? Right? How did they name you that? My cousin-in-law is named Flo, and he has nothing to do with insurance, but his name happens to be Jake, right? So they're like that. It doesn't make sense.
Gotcha.
Anyway. Well, man, I love it. And, shout out to Doppler, because I know he can give us a tough workout at times. I know that's not what you meant by that. But yes. I also think you came into the group already having a pretty solid fitness routine, right? Tell us about your kind of fitness journey through the years before F3.
Yeah. So, always a small kid growing up. My brothers just beat the shit out of me, so it's like, I had to start working out. Junior high-ish, I was committed that one day I was going to get big enough to slap my brothers around. And by the time I was big enough, they were my best friends. So it was kind of too late.
Older brothers? Two older brothers?
Yep, 2 older brothers, 4 years older and 6 years older than me. And great relationship to this day. I'm real close to my whole family, but they're continue to work out through high school and into college. High school and college, I was into powerlifting. So it's a competitive sport with squat, bench, and deadlift. You based on your body weight and age group, and did that all the way to college. Hurt my back. Probably hurt my back earlier, but found out from a specialist that I probably should lay off a little bit. And so continued to work out as needed after that, but always it stayed on top of mind. Been very, very important to me to have fitness in my life, and but just never. And I was always I found myself benefiting from a group type of setting, like a CrossFit or something similar to that. But the weights, the heavy weights all the time was just getting old, hurt. I was injuring myself every other month. It felt like, and it was definitely I needed a change up, and I was in this lull at the time where I didn't have really any kind of group activity going on, and the timing just worked out well for me. And it's without a doubt the longest group exercise that I've stayed with. I've done gyms where maybe 6 months, maybe a year, but now here we are 2.5 years in, and still at it. So obviously there's something to it that I love so much.
I love it. And there's definitely the group or team aspect, but what do you think's different? Have you figured that out? What do you think's different about F3 that maybe makes it a little stickier?
Yeah, I was thinking about this earlier today. It's like, when in most things in life, you kind of gravitate towards people that are similar to you and your personality. And what I enjoy about F3 is that you find yourself in conversations, and therefore relationships being created with people that aren't like you. We have all range of personalities with F3, and there's a true benefit to that because you're not going to get the same type of perspective all the time that you would if you were still in your box, and I find it that it's very beneficial, very, very gratifying, I guess, at the end of the day, coming to a workout, because you have multiple opportunities to get multiple different perspectives on life if you are having a question about whatever. But it's just so diverse at the end of the day, and just another great benefit of being a part of F3.
For sure. That's a really wise sort of phrase there, right? Of just surrounding yourself with people that are maybe headed in a similar direction, but that are also different mindset perspective wise. I love that. Curious when you think about, cause you're like, like to me, you're like, where I want to be fitness wise. Right. And so I think, but as you came into the group, what was your progression? Like you went that Wednesday to top rope. Did you go did you immediately jump right in, or do you remember what was your kind of progression through?
I think it was I think I kind of did just jump in. And when I found out that there was a Murph every single Monday, I was like, that's not realistic. And you can't do that. And so I thought that felt like a challenge to me. I'm like, God, these guys are doing this every single week.
Yeah.
No way. So after being in it for a little bit, you start to see these guys excel and who have already excelled. And you're like, God, man, if they're going to this every single week, why can't I get off my butt and get to that workout and do that? There's so many guys that are just so motivational in F3 that it's easy to be inspired if you just allow yourself, really. And I mean, I when I got into it, it was there was always challenges. Always have these so many challenges. Doing a Murph every single week, and then finding out that what they don't tell you before you start working in F3 that there is a pre-run. Like, oh, for pre-run, you can do that too. It's like, why can't I do that before? It's just, it's just there's so many opportunities to be motivated, and now I just if I hear about something that's going on, it's like when we're talking about halfway house, it's like it was I just to be able to just get up and go and do a half marathon is. You asked me that 3 years ago. I'm like, no, I wouldn't do that. Now, these days, it's like if like backcountry a few months back, he's like, and I wasn't in half marathon shape in my mind. He asked me, hey, you want to do a half tomorrow? I'm like, oh man, I don't know if I can do that. I didn't say, no, I don't think I want to do that right now. And then I took a step back and I texted him later that day. I'm like, dude, not too often do you get the opportunity just to go and run a half marathon with another buddy, with somebody who actually wants to do it. It's like I got to take advantage of this opportunity. It's just these small opportunities that we get with F3 that you need to take advantage of. That will excel you in life. Will put your fitness to a higher level if you just show up. If you say yes and show up at the end of the day.
I love it. That's so cool. How did the half turn out? Did you run?
Good, man. Yeah, he's a runner, so I'm sure he held back a little bit for me. But yeah, man. Yeah, fucking a lot of times the most difficult thing is just getting it going, getting started, man. But once you're rolling, it's not like you're gonna quit. I mean, who quits? Who just freaking quits? No, you finish it. Maybe it's not going to go as where you thought it was going to go. Most of the time, you do better than you expected. So that's just it, man. Just like if there's anything I can suggest to anybody in F3 is just get there, just get up and go. I know a lot of people, and I've talked about this in my COTs. Is like just showing up is the most difficult thing. Once you're there, it's much easier. And some people struggle with social anxiety. Some people will just think, okay, somebody's going to judge me on my fitness level. Somebody's going to. Another thing is like they have their own thing going on. There's so many other groups that they're not going to want to include me. It's just not the case. You have all spectrums of fitness in F3, and you don't really have cliques. I've noticed. I mean, you have people who, maybe get together more after the fact or whatever, but it's everybody is welcoming into these inner groups as well. So it's not. I just think if anybody ever feels that they won't be accepted, that's just false. They just need to get there. Just need to show up.
Well, and I want to get your thoughts on a couple of things that I know you've had a chance to do that I think are really, really cool. But again, most guys maybe just don't take that leap. But Mortimer, you got to do that race. Yeah. Talk us through that. What was that experience like? And I guess how did you connect with those guys?
Cool. Yeah. So TC was. I guess he was overhearing my conversation I was having, and I was having with somebody at, I think it was the berm. It wasn't the berm, but it's somewhere. And he kind of overheard me talking about, I just want to get in some kind of race, like train for something. And he's like, hey man, you should join us for Mortimer. I'm like, what's the Mortimer? And he's like, I'll give you the details. It's like 100-mile race and that. No big deal. And just kind of blew it off. I'm like 100 miles. I was thinking maybe we'll do like maybe a half or, what are we talking? Well, what we find out it's a 100-mile relay race that we did with 6 guys. We did 2 teams, 6 gentlemen on each team. And, it was great, man. It was great because, it was a situation where, in life, we can put ourselves in very challenging situations, but at the end of the day, we know there's an end. It's like it's going to suck, but we know that there's an end. We're not actually going to war, even though we want to feel like we're going to war. And so that was my mindset going in this, like, I want to be freaking miserable, but at the end of the day, I knew there was going to be an end, So, I was comfortable knowing that no matter how hard I pushed myself, how miserable it was, we were going to be safe at the end of the day. Well, it was perfect for that because it was cold, it was pouring rain. You have no sleep. You're in a van, kind of crumbled up. You're sleeping on a buckle, and it's just uncomfortable at the end of the day. It's uncomfortable. But it was a situation that was perfectly uncomfortable. We all did everything we can to get through our legs. And at the end of the day, we were there as a team and we had accomplished our goal. So it was a great experience, dude. And I had not ever done any kind of team thing, relay race like that before. So it was a great experience for me. One I definitely will remember for years to come, and one I want to do again.
Well, what there must be something about you like that sort of self-induced, pain or adversity, because the other thing that I was thinking about was was it a 96-hour fast or what, or you did like some crazy
Yeah,
fast? I mean,
yep, I did. I made it 96 hours. I had done 80 before that, and that was about a year and a half ago, and about half a year, about 6 months ago, I was able to do it 96. And I mean, the fasting is an amazing thing for the body, dude. It is. It is how we kill cancer. I truly believe it. If we got that started in our body, letting our bodies just take care of themselves. The way I always looked at it is like when you are eating food, your body's digesting it. When you're not digesting it, it's just dealing with what is going on inside your body. And what with fasting, the longer you can extend yourself, the um, the the better cleanse you're going to get at the end of the day. So and so what doing that, yeah, I'm a big fan of it. And once a year, I like to do something long term
I
like
love it.
that.
Where do you think that drive or desire comes from to just like kind of test yourself? I don't know, what's the motivation behind that?
Oh man, you know, I was never a great athlete growing up, but damn, did I
Mm,
want to be. I dreamt of being in the NBA. I dreamt of playing for the Huskers. And genetically, I had everything against me. I mean, just uncoordinated, um, a little pudge, short, weak, and I knew I have always had to work hard, dude. I was a horrible student. I always had to
mm,
work hard, and um, it was my physical effort and my ability to talk to people that brought me to a place of where the person I wanted to be one day. Um, and in putting that effort into things, I always felt like I had to try harder than most. I just didn't have a lot of natural
mm.
talents growing up, is how I felt. And that has stuck with me, dude. I just feel like um, if I can just push myself to a higher limit and certain things I do, I just come out better on the other end in all aspects of my life.
That's really cool. It's
Yes.
cool to see where you're at today, and I don't know if you recognize this or not, but I think a lot of guys would look up to you, right? Where you're at, not just physical fitness, but I think your family, you're successful in both family and business, and so I think it's inspiring to hear you say that didn't come from some, like natural born talent, or that there's opportunity for other guys to put forth the work to achieve some of that same success. So I think that's really cool for guys to hear. Curious your thoughts on, as you think about F3, kind of the fitness and fellowship, and maybe a couple of these activities we've talked about on the fitness side involve some fellowship, but how did you go about building relationships with guys in the group outside of just the guys that initially you met at dinner? What was that like for you? And would be curious if there's anything that was helpful that you would recommend other guys try.
Um, you know, the
Hmm.
cafeteria at the end of the day is, or at the beginning of the day, I should say, is important. Um, is just get to having more personal conversations doing that. Um, a few guys will I've just, went and we've grabbed lunch or grabbed a coffee outside of F3. Um, Especially when you have something that um, you can benefit each other outside of it. In business, you find yourself having those, conversations, like for what you and I have, the many conversations we've had, um, is because of, meeting each other at F3. But, um, you know, is at the end of the day, staying in touch with the people that you do feel a connection with, uh, and I, I'm always a guy. I'm like I've never been like you'll get in those what do they call them? They're um, like marketing groups when you get involved with you have a realtor, you have a insurance guy, you have a party planner, and they all just kind of give business to each other. I've never been good about asking for business ever, but I like to use the people around me that I trust, um, in my business. I just prefer that way, and so um, you know I would say that. If I didn't have already established relationships that I didn't want to break when it came to business, um, the people I'm around the majority of the day are the people that I want them to benefit from knowing me, and that is not only from business, but personally too. So if there's anything I can do to help somebody, um, I'm gonna take advantage of it at the end of the day. So I guess if that would be my tidbit would, if you can assist, or if there's an exchange of that you can uh, do with another F3 PAX member, take advantage of it.
For sure. It's interesting because we don't we don't typically start there, like you don't hear guys talking right away about what do you do for work, and it's often you don't really learn that until down the road. But man, I've had some recent experience lately with HVAC. Shout out to Flying V and his business there. But man, they really helped us when we were in a bind. And it's like you said, if you know the person and you can trust them, and bringing them into your house or whatever your world is to have them help, it just makes such a difference. And we were quoted like 40 grand to replace our system, and they fixed it for us for less than $5,000. And it was just like so stuff like that where you just I don't know, it's just really cool to have that network of people that you trust. But
For sure, I just had a conversation with cataracts late last night. I sent him a text. I'm like, hey man, ask him about a medicine um, for our eyes, and he's like, yep, no problem, man. We'll take care of you. And it's like I knew exactly who to go to, and I knew I was going to get a good answer out of at the end of the day. So that's one thing about F3 is that I don't think anybody realizes getting into it is the amount of answers you can get for the many types of situations that occur in life. Somebody has experience in it; they're either working it or they've dealt with that situation. But they're with going back to the diversity thing. There's an answer out there, man. If you got a question, there's an answer. Somebody has that answer within F3.
I do have to tell this story because it just I'll never forget it. But we moved out to the country maybe 2 years ago, and so it's been on my list to learn how to shoot a firearm. And so I remember buying an LR22 AR, and I'm like, man, I don't even know how to shoot this thing, right? Like and I'll never forget Armando and we go to the shooting range out in Waterloo, and I'm all set up, excited to shoot this thing, and I start shooting it, and I realized pretty quick that like this is like a BB gun kind of thing. And not paying attention, all of a sudden I just hear basically the bay next to me just exploded, and I look over and it's Armando with this like Rambo style gun, just like we all picture you to have. But I just remember that. That was a good experience, and ultimately what I learned from that is I need a bigger gun. But I appreciate you teaching me that life skill. But what was that, by the way? That was a 226 or
I have a 5.56 and a 223. A couple of 223s, yeah. And we had some handguns. We had some 40 caliber and a 9. So yeah, we had some fun, man.
I'll never forget that. I'm shaking in my boots after hearing that first round. I'm like, man, what did he just fire over there? But anyway,
oh yeah, what you learned is you can give that one to your wife and or a kid, and then we'll get you some big boys
for sure. Well, I am curious. We often talk to guys about the impact that F3 might have on your M and your 2.0s, and just curious if you've noticed any difference there. Maybe if they've noticed. I don't know if you've brought your 2.0s to a workout, or if they've commented on this weird cult that you've joined. But anything there?
Yeah. So my M, Megan, she's without a doubt, she knows it makes me a better person, and not only are you able to work off a little bit of steam, getting a workout done, but also it's when you surround yourself around just good people, you want to be better. You just don't. Nobody wants to be fake. Nobody wants to be fake. And when you just have genuinely good people around you, it does. It changes your perspective. Maybe makes it so you're not having as many negative thoughts at the end of the day. So she knows it is a better thing for our family that I'm within, that I'm experiencing F3. It wasn't until about 6 months ago she was like, all right, what mornings are you going to give me? All right, I know you're just freaking loving life and you're getting up and you're coming back just chipper as can be, but I need to get some of these morning workouts in. And so we negotiated Tuesdays, Thursdays are now hers, and then the rest of the week I can take advantage of if I just get her. Yeah. And then after I gave the flag to Cadbury Red Wing, she's like, she says, so that means I get Mondays now? And I'm like, no, we had a deal. It's the Tuesday, Thursdays, So we'll see what happens. But as far as the kids, they don't quite understand it yet. They don't quite get it. My 11-year-old, still quite immature. I've come a long ways already, but I'm excited. I've gotten to his head where he knows that I want him to go, and so I think soon enough he'll be out there, and I'm confident he will work hard because he knows that it's important to me, and he also knows that I'm just very proud of how far he's come. So I feel like he would not want to disappoint at the end of the day. So soon, man, soon we'll get him out.
And remind me, you have 2 boys and a girl.
I have 3 boys and a girl. I got an 11, 8, 6 boys, and then a 4-year-old girl.
Got it. And have any of them been out to a workout? Not yet.
Yeah, we've gone to. I brought the boys out to the Halloween beatdowns at Oracle, and they just the kids, man. They can't
for the donuts.
Serious, I had one of them crying because he's too cold. The other 2 that were just jacked up. So they thought it was just a fun exercise. At the end of the day, they didn't know what was really going on and how special it was. They do know that Dad gets up in the mornings and heads out to something that's important to him. So, when I first got started with F3, like 3 months in, I remember mentioning to Truly, it's like, I never want this to end. And I always like, I wonder how this is going to end. And it's like, at this point, it's like, I do not see it really ever ending because it's always going to be around, right? I mean, that's the idea, is that even if I was to leave the country for 3 months and come back, it would still be going on, you know? So, I just, I hope I stay true that it just really never ends, and I continue to stay involved.
For sure. Liberty Core Real Estate is your homegrown real estate broker. If you're looking to buy or sell real estate, whether personal or investment, Armando, aka Brian, and Megan Michaels' company is ready to serve you. With Command Center in Old Town Elkhorn and agents all throughout the metro, they are more than ready to guide and serve you in your next real estate endeavor. Whether your next move needs to happen now or in 5 years, call or text Armando at 402-770-2165 to get your questions answered. And a special offer for F3 Nation PAX members, Liberty Core will donate $250 to your sponsor of choosing for every closed transaction. Stop looking, start finding today with Liberty Core Real Estate. Well, you know, I think the other piece I wanted to get your thoughts on, kind of in that fellowship sort of realm, is what impact do you think it's had on your relationships with guys where you've maybe done the Mortimer or the half, or, you know, because I think there's a lot to gain from just overcoming adversity together. But what's been your take on that, sort of those experiences and the impact on relationships?
You know, I'm not, you know, I'm always been kind of, I'm not saying I'm not a team player, but I've kind of had to blaze my own path my entire life. I mean, that's kind of always how I always felt. You know, that's why I own my own company. That's why I feel like I'm my own boss. I wanted to control that. I want to control as much as I can in my life. Being in a group type of setting like that, it was different for me. But the cool thing was, it was freaking studs, dude. I mean, these guys they're runners. They are runners. You know, I have to create myself into a runner. I have to train myself into a runner, I guess, more than I would think they are. But they probably would say that. But yeah, some studs, dude. So, and so I was getting involved. I was the slow poke, you know. So, which was good, because I felt like I had to work extra hard in order to get to even close to their level. So it was very motivational for me. You know, I didn't want to disappoint at all at the end of the day, and I was very fortunate that you know, that everybody was all about this thing. But I was with Jean-Claude, and talk about not having a better partner to run with, because we had two teams. All right. So we got teamed up, you know. So I got Jean-Claude and I were together, and just talk about a badass and a great dude. I was the fortunate experience to be able to train with him in jiu-jitsu last summer. I did like a 2.5 month stint at their gym, and by no means am I calling myself a jiu-jitsu even athlete. Okay, I'm not saying that. I just happened to be at the gym, and I got my ass whipped for 2.5 months. I learned a few things, but it was a great experience. But Jean-Claude and I, that's where we got to know each other. And he was, you know, he was like, Armando. I'm like, who you're? He's like, yeah, he's a Jean-Claude. He's like, oh, cool, dude. Yeah, he's like, you're an F3. He's like, yeah. He's like, well, cool, man. So, anyway, so we, you know, created a bond there, and then I got out of it last summer because school was starting, and we you know, stopped communicating. So it was just great to get that relationship back, and to get to know all those guys that went. All those guys are mostly Southies, or mostly Sarpy County guys. So I would never even run into them in the first place. So it was awesome to have that experience to just to get to know that group.
That's been a cool race. I've always had it on my list to go, but I've never gotten approval from the boss to make it. But maybe one day I'll get to go to that.
Yeah. No, I think there's somebody needs to figure out like another run to do as well. I mean, I that's one F3 run that's going on. But I mean, we were even talking while we were there. We should really consider doing something like that in Omaha here, because we kind of felt like the Mortimer there. They're starting to they're not as excited as they once were, is what I'm told. So we might have to talk about that later. Is really doing something here in Omaha.
Well, tell us about kind of when you think about Third F. What's been your journey from a Third F perspective?
Well, during COVID, we stopped going to church and had not got back into it until probably it would have been like right about 2 years ago. Started going to Relevant, and it was all it was all because of a Q source at Whetstone right afterwards. It was the chapter was on, and you're going to be able to quote this better than I, but just being around people of faith is essential. It's needed, and it's going to maximize your potential with your faith. It's just gonna, and it just hit me. It's like I was not being the dad the kids deserved. I wasn't just getting them out there and getting them there, and it was. I always had this excuse, and everybody could relate. It was the excuse: the kids don't want to go. They don't want to go. They're just like, Dad, no, I want to do nothing like we usually do on Sundays, and it was we had to push them to get there, and it's you don't want to yell at your kid, but I got 3 boys, man, and they live their life they're being threatened because that's just what they know. So they will push the buttons. They will go to the limits until they get yelled at, and then we'll end up going. So, and at the end of the day, I don't like to be that guy. I don't want to be that guy. But you know what? You got to do that. You got to do that in order to get your family to get them on the right track. And as a result, I don't even know where we'd be. I don't even know if we'd still not be going to church if it wasn't for the positive impacts and the good people in F3 that I would see every day. That was just a motivational to get there. And what was also cool is that there were several other F3 members that were going to Relevant that I would see there, and it made it the right decision.
Was church part of your life growing up as a kid, or what was that? What was your upbringing?
Yeah, grew up Catholic. CCD every Wednesday. I remember. Catholic Church is very structured, as anybody who's in that grows up in the Catholic Church knows. And it's tough to be excited about it as a kid. My wife did not grow up Catholic, and so raising the kids, we were trying to figure out something that everybody would be more out to, and to be more as a group a part of, and so I feel like we're always trying to figure it out. We do not have our Christian faith figured out. We don't. I don't feel like we got it right. There's some nights that I'll tell the kids to go to bed, and they'll sometimes listen, and we won't pray, or we don't, it's like, or we miss a Sunday for church, or dads lose their tempers and says things that they don't feel good about it, and they look at their faith and they say, if I was thinking about my faith at the time, I wouldn't have approached a situation like that. So we are. I think it's, for me and my entire family, it's an continually working, decision making and working to try to get us to a point. But we do know that will never end, right? But I can honestly say I'm not satisfied right now with where we're at. We still got work to do.
Well, and I think that's normal, right? I mean, I think the key is just keep searching, keep trying to lead, your family in that realm. I think was reading a book the other day that the guy was basically saying you're not stuck unless you stop, right? And so like just keep things moving. The other kind of side of that third F piece too for F3 is the community leadership and involvement, and I think you do a lot of stuff in that space. I don't know what have you found helpful or valuable. I feel like you do the polar plunge. I see every year at the Elkhorn Community Parade. I mean, you're all over the community. Yeah. So talk to us about just the impact of maybe community service.
Yeah, when it comes to where we're located, our building is in Old Town Elkhorn. We have this little white building that if anybody is doing a pre-run from Armory is going to run right beside it every single time. And behind us is a nonprofit called COPE, Christian Outreach. Gosh darn it, Christian Outreach. Doesn't matter. Of Elkhorn, something of Elkhorn. I can't think of the P, but anyway. Christian Outreach Program of Elkhorn. Christian Outreach Program of Elkhorn. Thank you. Thank you, Brian, for figuring that out. Anyway, so what we do, we do all kinds of. So we do a haunted house in an old Lincoln Highway motel that was built in the 1800s that we've owned for a few years now. We've had a haunted house there 2 years in a row, in which we collect donations, like food donations, toiletries, things like that, as the admission to come into the haunted house, and then we donate all that to COPE. We do a few other additional fundraisers like that throughout the year that we also donate to COPE. We just did it was a dog washing. It was a company that our friends own. They put their trucks in the back of the property, and they wash dogs for free, and they would take donations, and those donations would go towards the tornado victims that were impacted around us. And the company was called Hydro Dog, that did all the free grooming for anybody who brought their dog. And then what we did is that we matched the donation that we got in total. So we collected about $650 that day in cash, and then we matched that with the $650. So again, just another community event that one we just actually created. Yeah, the parade, that was fun this year, man. That was cool. That was good. It's always good to see you there with your family. And what else is cool is that usually there's a lot of F3 guys that I see. But this year I didn't see a lot of guys. I don't know what the deal was.
Yeah, I was catty corner to Billboard and Tea Party. We're both up there, and
I saw Billboard. Yep. I did see Yep, I saw Tea Party, but my
kids got more candy than Halloween, man, for that. People throwing out. It was crazy.
I know. So I did. I did a wave at Tea Party, but I had that wig on. So I don't think he knew who I was. I think he was just kind of like, I was waving at him and he's like, yeah, T-Bart. And he's just like looking at me weird. But that was fun for us because we really took advantage of that rock and roll theme that they were going for. And so kids loved it, man. I don't know. There's something about, I love dressing up, man. I just do, especially when it comes to any kind of 80s rock, and when you think of the whole theme was peace, love, and rock and roll. So it's probably more of a 60s type of thing, but I just heard rock. Right. So we just went all 80s for rock. Sure. And got wigs from Amazon and had a fun.
Well, just as long as you don't start hanging out with Mufasa and Fine Print and sort of the School Zone and I don't know if you've met those guys at all, but they like to dress up and they're kind of some pseudo PAX members there. At fancy fees, but the other thing, kind of, you think about F3, Fitness, Fellowship, Faith, and then our mission, right, to reinvigorate male community leadership. I want to get your thoughts on that. The VQ is one way we try to give guys leadership opportunity, but also being a site Q. Any memories or kind of learnings or things that are key takeaways from being a site Q for you? Anything that you feel like, what'd you learn from that?
Yeah. It was so damn special, dude. I didn't realize that at the time. I didn't realize how big F3 was at the time. It's like, and it's grown substantially since then. But how many sites we got?
70.
I don't know, 50, 70.
And we're adding more.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Dang. So, it's like, we have how many members do we have?
About 2,500, I think, was the last I saw in PAXnet.
So if you think about 2,500 guys, and 70 of those gentlemen are leading a site. So percentage wise, that's a pretty damn high, low percentage. That is, and you got to think that these are the top leadership that's really shining through. That's leading these sites is becoming the site Q. So it's just so damn special. And to be trusted with that, man, you got expectations and you got responsibilities and you got things you need to do weekly in order to make sure that things running smooth. And so yes, without a doubt, so special. And it was very, very important to me to pass it on to somebody that I knew that would take it very seriously and continue it forward in the way that I and everybody else would expect it to be. And so that's why I decided on Cadbury. He's a great leader, and it was. He's going to kill it. He's going to be a great leader
for sure. Tell us about the eagle. How did that thing come about? I mean, that is just, if you haven't seen the eagle on the Red Wings flag, man, it's massive and it's beautiful. I love it. How did that come about?
Yeah. No, it's I know there's been tweets, man. There's been people trying to take that thing. It's highly regarded, man. Yeah, there was Chucky thought it'd be funny, and he stole the eagle one time, and so I got him back and glued a fairy on the top of his flag. Totally disrespectful to F3. Probably that was early on. I probably wouldn't do that now. But, I had to teach that boy a lesson, man. That kid, it's just, Chucky. He just needs to be told to back off sometimes. And, it was fun. It was some good banter back and forth. But anyway, I had that eagle in my garage for years. It was in a cabinet that I had on a flagpole. Probably 5 years before that I never got back on, and I thought this thing is going to be perfect for the Red Wings flag. And when it was time to pass, Cadbury says, "Is the eagle going to come with it?" And I'm like, "Yes, of course it is, man." So I gave that thing a new shiny gold coat of paint, and that thing's still stuck at the top, and it will. It is a part of the Red Wings shovel flag going
That's
forward.
awesome. Well, I love it. Well, it's been cool to, just see you, watch you lead, the packs. And I think, at times, right, I think we are all just looking for another guy to show up, right, and be there with us and go through whatever is going on. And so as a site Q, right, you're that consistent guy, right, showing up for another band who's going to show up and do a Murph or whatever they want to do on Monday. So curious as you think about, your journey. One thing that comes to mind is sort of this acronym. I wonder if you would go into share on DBAP. I think is sort of an infamous Armando COT. But I don't know if it's DBAP or maybe there's something else. But anything else on your list that you want to make sure you get out there to the guys listening?
Yeah. So how that came into play was my first cue, and you know how it is on your first cue. It's just you're jacked, man. You're freaking pumped. You're you're overthinking everything. And I had so many thoughts on the workout. Looking at the workout, I'd never do that workout again. It was just, I just wouldn't. And then the COT, I wanted to say so much that it came down to just don't be a pussy. And that's what came out at the end of it. That's just what was said. And it all surrounded around, we all have that in us. It's a part of our lives. And I when I am struggling with something, when I'm like, do not want to do something, and I need to motivate myself, that's just what I say to myself. Just don't be a pussy, just go, just do it, just get it done. And so, you really can't use that word in public all the time. So
we can try to bleep it out.
DBAP. Yeah. Hashtag DBAP is what derived from that COT. And at Stripes, the second time I did a COT, he says, "Oh man, that was so much better than the DBAP." And I was like, "What? No, man." He's like, "You've come a long way." I'm like, "No, that thing was perfect. That was a good COT before." So anyway, I do believe in that. That I would not change that about myself. I would not change that about my COT, my first COT. I think it's something that it's safe to say to ourselves to get us off our ass and get us rolling, man.
Heck yeah. I love it. Well, I will just say, I know I look up to you as a leader and a man and a friend, and I know so many guys do. And so just appreciate your time and appreciate you sharing your journey today. And yeah, man, it's been awesome. Excited for the next big thing. I think we're going to hopefully add you to our Westo Weasel Shakers team. So that'll be exciting to get you in the loop there.
I appreciate that.
Let's do a little name-rama to wrap it up here. I'll start, okay? Brandon Flehardy, 38, The Plague.
Brian Michael, 43, Armando.
And you kind of roll the R a little bit, right?
Armando. I got a few different ways. It depends on how I'm feeling that day.
Awesome. Appreciate you, brother.
Thanks,
have a good rest of your day.
Everything, man. This was fun. I appreciate it.
Later, man.
Yep. You have a great